He was generous to fellow actors, too. When he arrived on the set of Gorky Park, he found an inexperienced William Hurt, desperately in need of help.
I always wanted to meet an American. You are so different.
I remember the first day he had on set, he turned to me and he says, "Come here." You know, he's like, everything was so intimate and grandiose at the same time. You know, he goes, "Come here." And he says, "How long?" I can't use the word, I don't think. "How long have you been putting up with this shit?" And I said, "About 6 weeks." And he said, "Okay, look, while I'm here, I'll guard your flank. You go ahead and try to act." And what was amazing was that he did it. He would see someone, you know, he was a soldier. He knew about maneuvers. He knew about strategy and tactics.
Forgive me for staring. Only once before did I ever meet an American, in the flesh, so to speak. A young student, Kerwell, I think he was called. James Kerwell.
Oh?
But he was dead.
That doesn't count then, does it?
You must have noticed many differences between a man like yourself, Mr. Osborne, and a man like me.
Man overboard.
What?
There's a sliver of food on your upper lip.
I'm just a plodding investigator, no style. Completely out of my depth. Oh, yes, 3 bodies, 3 people shot down and mutilated in Gorky Park, and me, I have food on my lip.
Not even caviar, I thought. I somehow feel that the executioner, whoever he may be, would have preferred somebody like more nimble opponent.
I was just in love with the guy, you know, because he was so alive. He was so vivacious. He was so... And he wasn't a mold breaker in the sense that he was better than other people. He showed you who you could be. You know, by being what he was, by accepting what he was fully, you know, you shed your fakeness, in his company. He says, "You want to know what life is all about?" Well, yeah. That's what I'm doing here. That's why I do what I do, to keep pursuing that question.
You know, it's that old Hemingway line. You know, for the first 5 minutes, you think you have the fish hooked, and then after that, you realize that he has you hooked.
He says, the last time I was down in Australia, off the Australian Barrier Reef, they were hunting for the big one, he says. And one day, there it was. And we all knew this was the one. The fin came up and it was the one, the biggest one ever. So we wait. I get in the chair and I've got the rod in my hand, and he came up behind it, took a swipe, took another swipe, charged it, and then after that, nothing was like what it usually is. He says, a marlin, a big black marlin, will run, it will sound, it will cut to the side, it will leap, it will do something, but it won't do what this one did. It just hung there. It didn't move. I could pull with all my might, and he would come a little bit forward. If I released any pressure at all, he would pull back to exactly the same position. He hung there like that for 45 minutes until my arms were steaming, hot, dying blood, until my arms were incapable of holding the rod anymore. And at a certain moment, suddenly there was a gigantic lurch, a tug, and he was gone. At that point, my arms were so tired I couldn't even hold up the fishing rod. So they fell on my side, and the crew had to take it out of the holster. I went up on the foredeck and I cracked a beer and let them reel in the line. A little later on, one of the crewmen comes up and says to me, "What'd you think of what was on the end of the hook?" Another crew member goes to the ice chest and opens up this humongous ice chest, and he takes out the eye. The fish had foul hooked himself and had to make a decision between saving his eye and saving his life. And that, said Lee, as he showed me the picture, is what life is all about. You know, the great Marvin, the great Marlin, you know, the big one that gets away, he got away with it.